So here we go then, the Solidarity Challenge Grand Finals. It is going to be Scott McTominay taking on Antoine Griezmann. I'm glad to welcome back Darren Fletcher to the fold. I've obviously been here with Harry the whole way through today. Darren, very excited to get into this Grand Final.
Absolutely, and I've been looking at the results, and Antoine Griezmann basically has just continued on that level all the way through. I'm interested today whether Scott can go again, because I think if you look at Scott's results, yes, he's done well to get to the final. But I still think, based on the results and the way he's played so far, he's got a little bit to find. I don't know whether Harry would agree with that, but I think he's got a bit to find on Griezmann. I think he goes in as the favourite. Can he maintain the standard that he's set? And if he can't, has Scott got that little bit more for the final just to get him up there so he can really make an impact?
Yeah, Harry, I mean, how good did Antoine look yesterday? I think Darren's very right in the sense that Scott really does need to find another level, you think. If Antoine plays the same way, though, he's got to be the favourite, surely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he has the highest average scoring of so far of the entire challenge. Don't think he's scored less than 4 so far. So, yeah, I think Scott definitely needs to find that little bit extra. I feel like this is going to be a different kind of test, though, for Griezmann himself, because I feel like McTominay, probably the best defensive-sided team in terms of a competitor in this tournament so far. I feel like Griezmann might have a few issues breaking him down in the attacking side of the gameplay. So we'll have to see if Griezmann can maybe, start to chip away at the McTominay defence and get an early goal, then it could be over before, even half time. But if McTominay can hold on, then you never know.
You never know, but just to remind you guys at home as to why we are doing the Solidarity Challenge, of course it is to support the WHO in the fight against coronavirus. The COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund is something you can donate to from your home, www.solidaritychallenge.org. Every single penny of that donation goes directly to the fund and to the WHO to fight against the coronavirus. But let's have a look at how these two guys found themselves here. As I said, we've touched on some of their games, but this is how things have broken down. Antoine Griezmann, first and foremost, went up against Ludovic Julie, 5-0 there. Then Blaise Matuidi, his French international teammate, 4-0 there. 4-0 against Liv Cook in the semi-final as well. Has just been free-flowing scoring very, very easily across the 2 days. Now, Scott McTominay, a little bit of a closer affair for him. 3-2 on pens against Luis Saha, 2-1 versus Robert Perez, and only 2-0 against Danny Kerr. So it's definitely been a bit more of a tough task at hand for Scott McTominay to find himself here. But maybe I'm sort of thinking to myself, Harry, that, having these close games, do you think it'll give him some sort of momentum into this one? Whereas Antoine Griezmann's just breezed past people. He's been playing easy pets.
Yeah, well, this is it, isn't it? McTominay hasn't had the headline Hollywood score lines. He hasn't just been blasting past everyone. He's had to, take his punches, take his lumps. And I think you're right. I think that might give him a bit of momentum here. Griezmann hasn't really been tested so far to the extent that McTominay has in previous rounds. So, yeah, I think that will settle him down nicely ahead of this final here.
I think this is the classic boxer puncher. This is the wrecking ball going into the ring who's stopping everybody in the first round. And then you've got can the other fella come in, keep himself out the way for a little bit and maybe nick it on points. There's going to be a battle of tactics here. When you look at Griezmann's record all the way through, it's phenomenal. When you think how close Scott McTominay came to going out to Luis Saha in the very first game, and here he is in the final. But I think this is going to be fascinating. Will the defensive player, the organisation, will that slow Antoine Griezmann down? Or is he just going to carry on rampaging through the tournament and win it? I think it's fascinating.
Well, we're going to find out very, very shortly. But before we do get into the game, Darren is going to chat to the players.
So, gentlemen, we reach the final. Scott, the last time we spoke, you just survived the penalty shootout against Luis Saha. Since then, you've managed to get through to the final. How are you thinking about this one today, then, against Antoine?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I know he plays the game a lot, so it'll be an interesting game. But no, it's all for a good cause, and obviously to be in the final is brilliant. So no, should be good fun.
Antoine, so you've not conceded a goal. You've scored lots of goals. You've absolutely stormed into the final today. You must be really confident.
Non, c'est une finale, donc tout peut se passer, mais voilà, très très heureux de pouvoir jouer contre Scott, et j'espère que ce sera un bon match pour le public, et voilà, que le meilleur gagne.
So what do you do, Scott, when you look at his record and he's scoring 4s and 5s and all that kind of thing? You've had a well-organised team, though, on the way to the final. So are you confident that you can slow Antoine's team down?
No, but no, it's a game. Anything can happen in 90 minutes. So he might be an underdog, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure he's very, very good.
Okay, Antoine, you've been the favourite all the way through. You've got Scott in the final, but you will know that Scott's team has been difficult to score on, so you will have to play well in the final.
Bah, j'espère aussi. Je pense que ça va être un bon match et voilà, je vais essayer de garder la balle, de faire tourner le ballon et de pas prendre de but parce que devant, je peux faire mal à tout moment.
Fellas, good luck to both of you. We will speak after. So, it all comes down to this. Antoine Griezmann against Scott McTominay. FC Barcelona against Manchester United. The final. And I'm really looking forward to this one, Harry.
Yeah, me too. It's interesting to see what kind of lineup Griezmann feels. He's, in previous rounds, settled into a sort of almost a front four with Messi, Dembele, Suarez and himself on this near side featuring. So that leaves little room for attacking substitutes late in the game. We'll see if it comes back to bite him.
Here's the first Antoine Griezmann attack, and the defending not that decisive initially from Scott McTominay, but he's got Victor Lindelof on hand over there to clear it away. And now Scott McTominay, controlling himself, can bring Manchester United forward for the first time in the final. Sergio Busquets, though, now has it back for Barcelona, and here's Luis Suarez and Eric Bailly back there. I wonder whether this is going to settle into a pattern of an attacking team in Antoine Griezmann and an organised team for Scott McTominay, and Scott will know then that when the chances come, he's got to take them.
Well, it's a really good question, and one that we'll definitely get the answer to come the end of the match. And speaking of lineup, Scott going with the tried and tested esports first 11, I suppose you could say, with some youth players in there, the likes of Damani Mela, the likes of Tuan Zebe at the back. Here he is on the ball now. He's certainly willing to listen to the Manchester United esports captain, Eldridge O'Neill, and it's helped him out so far.
It's at Mason Greenwood, and now Marcus Rashford, who was looking to try and turn inside the Barcelona penalty area. He'd been nice and patient there in the build-up. Scott McTominay. Here comes Antoine Griezmann controlling this Barcelona team with Lionel Messi on the ball, and now Frenkie de Jong. They've been such a free-scoring team, Griezmann's side, all the way to the final. 4s and 5s. He's actually yet to concede a goal, so that's going to be the first problem that Scott has, is to try and somehow have enough possession and generate a chance that's good enough so he can actually score. Here's Mata, and now Damani Mela.
No.
And now Bailly.
No, Scott. Get off, man.
Scott McTominay winning it back for Scott McTominay against Antoine Griezmann. It seems as though Scott wants to keep the ball as long as he can, Harry, when he's got it.
Yeah, certainly. Doesn't want to give up possession too far up the pitch and allow that counter-attack of Barcelona to come in. But look at the high press.
Suarez, but that decision's going to go Manchester United's way, which will be relief to Scott McTominay. Suarez just offside.
I think, Darren, one of the real reasons we've seen such high scoring from Griezmann so far this competition is because of the success he's had with Messi in that 10 role behind the front three. It's been a really proficient counter-attacking squad that he's been able to use, and Messi's been the catalyst for it.
Got to give some credit here, though, to Scott, because he's made a really solid start. He's not allowed Antoine to get the early goal and to get that early momentum and all those early attacks that we've seen in the games on the way to the final, but he has actually managed to make this a relatively even start, which will give him confidence.
Might even argue he's having the lion's share of possession here as well.
Here's Greenwood looking to turn, but Jordi Alba was there for Antoine Griezmann, and here's Dembele. Very cagey start to the final. Griezmann gives it away to Fosu Mensah. Here's Matic, and now McTominay.
No.
Juan Mata won't get there, but it will be a throw into Manchester United and more possession for them inside Antoine Griezmann's half.
It's really rare, Darren, that you'll see a PES game without a chance in the first half an hour in game time. It's clearly means a lot to both of these players. Maybe, you know, the concentration levels being so high that they might be missing a few chances here and there, some runners off the ball. So you can tell it means a lot to them, even though it's a friendly, just for fun competition. They want to be the victor of it.
Well, in boxing terms, at the moment, the boxer is still on his feet against the puncher. And Scott's going to be delighted with the way that his team have started the final. Here's Frankie de Jong, and now Suarez. And Scott McTominay, of all people, for Scott McTominay, the defender back there. But I think it's just gone a little bit far. Is that going to be a corner? I think it is. Corner to Antoine Griezmann. And Barcelona, the first set piece for Scott McTominay to have to defend. Corner taken by Messi, headed away by Bailly, and then Busquets didn't gather it. Here's Nelson Semedo, Antoine Griezmann. Still Griezmann with the shot.
I was waiting for it.
And Scott McTominay survives the first serious test from Antoine Griezmann.
Yeah, it was more of a half chance than anything. It was in an okay position, but De Gea saw it all the way.
Here's Jordi Alba, the rampaging fullback coming forward. Lindelof is over there. Now Dembele. Messi with the chance. And Messi puts it wide. And that was a very good chance for Antoine Griezmann.
Much better chance, this one. One that really should be finding the back of the net. Did so well to find Messi with the late run. You just need that to be on target.
Oh, man.
Maybe that's the first goal here in the final.
That was so close to being 1-0. To Barcelona, 1-0 to Griezmann in the final. A solidarity challenge final between Antoine Griezmann and Scott McTominay. Now, Scott McTominay controlling Manchester United, Antoine Griezmann controlling Barcelona, representing their respective clubs. The Ter Stegen in possession here for Antoine Griezmann. We did say privately before this started that we felt that Scott needed to have it close going into the second half, and it looks as though it's going to be that way.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy with the performance so far in the first half, especially if he's able to keep this clean sheet for the next 2 or so in-game minutes. I think that would be a success for him.
There's Dembele. Now De Jong. He's been very well organised defensively all the way through the tournament, Scott. And the decision will go to Manchester United there for the offside. So half-time, Harry, 0-0.
0-0 it is, and I think if we're sticking with the boxing analogy, I think round one would definitely go to McTominay. I mean, Griezmann's certainly had his chances, but I think McTominay will be the happier fighter. Mostly glancing blows, if you will. Not so much saved by the belt. We'll have to see if round two is anything to go by.
He's certainly managed to avoid the big haymaker at this stage. We will see what happens, though, in the second half. 0-0, penalties if necessary. And Scott's defensive organisation that's been a key of his path to the final is there for everybody to see again. Antoine's test in the second half is to try and get the attacks as incisive and as imaginative as they've been in the previous round. It's Juan Mata, up to Marcus Rashford. Now Scott McTominay, and the tackle made in there by Jordi Alba. That might well have been the moment for Scott McTominay to score for Scott McTominay, but not to be. Given away there by Dembele. Here's Greenwood. Mellor. Shot by Mellor, and that's over. But it's the first shot that Scott McTominay's had in the final. And another little moment there to increase his confidence.
Yeah, he's building early on in this second half. There was a run on there. I think it was Marcus Rashford. Maybe, might have just been so close to goal to get a pass through without Ter Stegen coming to collect. But he gets his shot away at least. And, well, that'll be some warning signs maybe for Griezmann. Just reminding him that, well, this final is not a sure thing. McTominay's proven in earlier rounds he can score from open play. So we'll have to see. Here's
Messi. A little bit of space for him.
No.
Like Griezmann had carried on running, and Antoine Griezmann is in, and he's put it wide. He's disappointed. Eric Bailly was the defender for Scott. That was an opportunity, though, for Antoine Griezmann to be Griezmann's hero.
Yeah, Griezmann with the late run, and well, Bailly came across. Didn't quite see from that replay whether or not he got a touch or whether it was Griezmann's shot that went wide. Looks like it will be a corner.
No, you got to go short.
Taken short here to Nelson Semedo.
Go on then,
Mason son. Greenwood with the block for Scott McTominay. Here's De Jong. Alba. And driven in, and they're all over the place, but they managed to get it clear again. Scott McTominay was helping out Scott there himself, and now the counter-attack's on. Greenwood to Mata, and then Mellor, and Rashford's made the run into the middle. And he's still going here, Mellor. And Nelson Semedo back there to defend it for Barcelona and Griezmann.
Yeah, did just enough there, did Semedo for Antoine. And it gets to the stage as we approach the time where usually you'd see substitutions come into play on the real-world pitch. Maybe we start to see these players turn to their benches, and maybe Griezmann even turn a bit more attacking, because he surely won't want this to go to pens.
There's Dembele with the cross, and that's cleared away. Every time he's needed a defender back there, Scott McTominay, he's managed to find one, although the Young's got the ball here, and now Messi, and Messi was looking to turn, and the shot, that's the save by David De Gea. Messi can't believe it. I'm pretty sure
What is he doing?
Antoine Griezmann.
Norcan McTominay,
What's
I
he
thought
doing?
for sure that he was in possession of this ball and that there was no way for Messi to get a shot away. Luckily, the Spaniard, De Gea, is right behind it. Only the corner for Griezmann. He's pressing though.
On Scott McTominay.
He's gone as well. No, change player.
Corner to Antoine Griezmann. Lionel Messi's out to take it. Time ticking by though.
No.
Dembele's managed to get the other side of Fosu.
No.
Down he goes, and what's the referee said? He said,
Yes, Griezmann!
The final for Antoine Griezmann. It's Antoine Griezmann.
I don't believe
It's the fairy tale. It's exactly what Griezmann wanted to see. And Antoine Griezmann leads Scott McTominay 1-0.
Oh my gosh. How is it not a penalty?
Well, for all its
I took the
pressure
penalty.
and for all its pressing, Griezmann gets the reward he was looking for. I felt a little sympathetic towards him, considering the foul just before should have been called a penalty. I think the referees played a really good advantage here. As Dembele goes down under a heavy challenge, but Griezmann there thought about taking it on his left, looking to then shift it onto the right boot. That was a heavy challenge at the back. Just switched feet at the last second, did the virtual Griezmann.
It had to be.
And it's an advantage to the French international.
Well, the virtual Griezmann has made Antoine Griezmann very, very happy, and it's advantage to him in the final with not too long remaining for Scott McTominay to try and find an answer. He's got to throw caution to the wind now and really get on the attack. Here's Greenwood, and now Rashford. Rashford's wriggling through. Alba, the defender, and did really well.
And if you take a look in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, that little blue bar means that Griezmann's gone on to the more defensive side of things. Maybe very wary of defending this one-goal lead. It's uncharacteristic of Antoine. Usually he scores, again, to use a boxing analogy, punches in bunches. Looks like he's happy to sit on this one-goal advantage and not give away too much at the back. I think it's quite smart at this stage of the game.
Just trying to keep the ball at the moment, although there's some space here for Alba into Griezmann again. To David De Gea. Launched forward and flicked on. Here's Mason Greenwood. Scott McTominay coming forward. He's got two up there with Mason Greenwood, who's still on the move. Down he almost went over and turned out it was a fair challenge.
Oh, down Mason.
Now the man who's got the goal so far, Antoine Griezmann, out to Lionel Messi. Fosu Mensah across there to win it back for McTominay, but he gives it away to Nelson Semedo. Vidal to Griezmann, lovely turn. Tees up Dembele, side foot straight.
What is he doing?
Second chance, pulls it back, 2-0. And he's only gone and got both of them.
I don't believe this. I don't believe it.
Antoine Griezmann
I don't believe it.
2-0. And the virtual
I don't
Antoine
actually believe what I'm
Griezmann
seeing.
scored both goals.
Oh my
I
god!
think that's the goal that seals it.
He scored two, man.
Barca players are celebrating.
Hey, well done.
For
Well done,
McTominay.
boy.
He'll be so
Yeah, I was
disappointed.
well in it.
He's defended stoutly all solidarity challenge
No way.
long throughout every round so far.
That's
but
twice
in the
now.
end,
That's
he's
twice. Watch this
unbelievable.
guy. Who's this?
Well, it's just a mix-up at the back.
What
between
is he
Gay
not
and
catching it
Lindelof,
for?
I think it was. Just needs someone to put a boot through it, put a fist through it, get it away from the area. Instead, it's Griezmann first to react.
What is
to
Victor
Dembele.
doing there?
He sets his virtual self up for his brace. And that surely should be the title now.
Well, he's had to work really hard for it in the final, Antoine Griezmann, but two little moments where he needed the incisive finish, and the virtual version of himself has delivered on both occasions. And it looks like it's going to be disappointment in the final for Scott McTominay unless he can get things done very, very quickly.
By very quickly, we mean almost instantaneously. from this attack needs a goal. And, you know, even if he gets that goal, Griezmann's going to play possession.
Free kick by Matic was headed away. Here's Messi. Antoine Griezmann in possession. It's all he needs at the moment to keep the ball. It's been a fantastic effort, though, by Scott, because he's given Griezmann more trouble than anybody else has all the way through to the final.
And although we haven't seen too many attacking forays from him, maybe unlucky not to get a goal.
Can't get through him, can I?
Mata hits it straight at Nelson
Should have
Semedo.
played for penalty.
Here's Messi. Mella onto Rashford.
Look at him.
To Manchester United, to Scott McTominay.
Yeah, intentional foul this was, I think, from Busquets. I feel like Griezmann just wants to slow down the flow and not give McTominay any chance to get himself a lifeline in this final. It's smart, it's clever, bit of gamesmanship.
No, that's a foul as well. If he gets hat-trick, I'm quitting.
And, well, I think Antoine has done enough here.
What is he sliding for?
Two Mensah went in and didn't leave anything to the imagination. Scott McTominay's got to get it forward. Mata onto Rashford. One back well, though, for Antoine Griezmann by Frenkie de Jong. And the full-time whistle.
The world champion!
A bit of practice. Get me a bit of practice, yeah, I'm coming for it.
And Antoine Griezmann has won the Solidarity Challenge by 2-0. Antoine, congratulations. It was hard fought. It wasn't an easy game, but you won it.
Ouais, Scott, il a un très bon niveau de jeu. J'ai été surpris. Et voilà, ça a été un plaisir d'avoir pu jouer contre lui. Et comme on s'est dit avant, bah, on pourra s'entraîner encore plus pour devenir meilleur.
Scott, congratulations on reaching the final. Commiserations on the way it went. I thought for a spell there that you got it tactically spot on. Going into the second half, we were saying during the commentary, you were controlling the ball, you were holding him at bay. We really fancied you to maybe nick it in the second half there.
Yeah, the first half was good. I kept the ball well. It's probably a little bit frustrating whenever someone does that to me. It's annoying. So I knew that was be the best way to play. But then second half, 2 mistakes killed me. 2 mistakes, and obviously me not being able to break him down was the main talking point of the match. So no, it was a good game. I enjoyed it a lot, and obviously it was a pleasure to be involved in the tournament. So I really appreciate that.
It's been fantastic having you involved. Antoine, was that the perfect way to win it with 2 virtual Antoine Griezmann goals?
Ouais, j'ai essayé de trouver le Grisou devant, essayer de lui donner le plus de fois de ballon le plus possible. Et voilà, c'est lui qui nous donne la victoire. Donc on est heureux de l'avoir dans notre équipe.
Scott, we're looking forward to seeing you back on the proper pitch very, very soon, away from the virtual pitch that we've enjoyed watching you on for the past couple of days. Would you have a message before we let you go for the Manchester United supporters?
Yeah, obviously we just all can't wait to be back. It'll be amazing to be back playing, whether that's not in front of any fans or just in crowds where there's nobody there. So no, everybody's looking forward to be back, and hopefully we'll get some good results and start pushing forwards now.
Scott, thank you. We wish you well with the preparations and looking forward to seeing you back in the league. Antoine, what would you say to the Barcelona supporters who are watching this? It won't be long before you're back too.
Bah, j'espère qu'ils ont profité du jeu, de la victoire, et voilà, hâte de retrouver le championnat, de leur donner du plaisir sur le vrai terrain, et voilà, bisca le Barça.
Well done to both of you. Antoine, you're the winner. Scott, you're the runner-up. Thanks for taking part.
So there we have it. Congratulations to Antoine Griezmann, the winner of the Solidarity Challenge. Harry, in the end, it feels like he deserves it, and he very much was the favourite going into it, but a good performance all around.
I mean, he proved why, didn't he? Not a single goal conceded throughout the entire tournament, by the way. Not a bad record to go along with the crown as well. Scott, I mean, we heard from him just then in the post-game interview. It felt like he was controlling the game really well in the first half, which he was. He was frustrating Antoine here and there, only really allowed him half chances and that one chance around the 30-minute mark, I think it was, with Leo Messi. But in the second half, just lost a bit of concentration, and Antoine's class, I think, showed through, and that's why we see him crowned the champion.
And Darren, he's a hell of a player on the pitch, it has to be said, and he's pretty good on the sticks also. Antoine's so impressive all the way through.
Yeah, when the chances came, he just got the ability to take them. Even more special for him, the fact that the virtual Griezmann got both goals in the final, which if he could have written the script beforehand, that's what it would have said. I mean, from Scott's perspective, I thought he did really well. I think he did what he had to do, which was to try and make it difficult for Antoine and try and keep the ball for as long as he could. It was just that age-old problem that we've seen everybody have in the tournament against Antoine. You just can't get forward to score a goal either. We know that he's free scoring as a player, but as Harry said, he's not letting goals in either. But I think they both enjoyed it. They've both been fantastic competitors. So has everybody who's been involved in the Solidarity Challenge. And I think it was the perfect way for it to finish.
Absolutely. So there you go. Antoine Griezmann is the winner of the Solidarity Challenge. Just to remind you guys exactly why we have done this is to help in the fight against coronavirus. The WHO's COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund is what we are donating to. You can still donate at any time at www.solidaritychallenge.org. Every single penny goes towards the fund. But yeah, I mean, that's it. The end of the Solidarity Challenge. I want to say a massive thank you to all our celebrities who took part. A massive thank you to our commentary team, Harry, as always, with me. And Darren, your first foray into the virtual beautiful game. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
I've enjoyed it. You've made me very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Harry, another good day of PES anyway.
It always is on the virtual pitch. The favourite came through to win it. Scott McTominay gave himself a really good account of himself, but in the end, Antoine Griezmann, he remains the king.
He does indeed. Thank you very much to everybody at home who's been watching and donating, and we will see you next time.